do you have any stories of just how God has used you in
Yeah.
that environment? I think there's so many people that are in the marketplace or nurses or
Yeah.
whatever their job is and wondering, how can God use me in this? I'm
Mm.
not in ministry or whatever.
Yeah, no, I really thought about that even before I started being a nurse because I knew there'd be a component of, okay, I can't always start this conversation. God has to open the door to start talking about this. And so honestly, it's just a daily prayer that there'd be divine appointments, that there'd be opportunities with my coworkers, with my patients, and God supplies. It's more days than not that something happens and I get to pray with a patient or get to share the hope of Jesus with somebody. So there's very few days where that honestly doesn't happen. And the cool part is none of it is myself. None of it's my own doing because he has to open that door. And so if anything, it's just boosted my faith because he's the one who's doing it all. So one cool story that I always think of, and there's many, but here's just one of them, was when I work a work week and I work a Friday through a Sunday typically. So there's a patient, and I'll never forget these days that I spent serving him. So I just went in the room on a Friday morning. It's early in the morning, just like normal, nothing special. Just
Yeah.
went in, introduced myself to him. We talk about the plan for the day and get going for the weekend. Well, Saturday rolls around, and then Sunday finally comes. And he looks at me and says, "I don't know if you know what happened." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, on Friday morning, before you got to work, before you came into my room, I got some really bad news from the doctors, and his condition was not going to get any better. And this would be, the rest of his life until the end." And so he was feeling really down. And he said, I was about ready to go home. I was going to go and end it and be done with my life because that's the news I found out. And he said, "Something happened. You entered the room." And I was suddenly filled with hope. I was filled with hope, and I
Wow.
decided I want to go home and live. I want to go and I want to live and invest in my family. And he said, "I don't know what changed, but something happened." And anyway, it just opened the door to talk about the Lord. And we ended up praying together on Sunday, and we ended up rejoicing and praising God. And his room was filled with the Spirit of God. And so it was like, it's amazing because I don't know if we always remember how much we carry of God's presence. We give our own thoughts a lot of credit sometimes when really a lot of it is God speaking to us and
Yeah.
like working through us. And so I didn't do anything special. That was all the Lord and his power moving in that room.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Isn't it much more fun?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.